Welcome to the 6th webinar in our Adolescent Success Series showcasing a specific vocabulary strategy. My name is Kim.
And I am Debbie.
We will be facilitating your journey with this after vocabulary strategy deep dive. Best practice in vocabulary instruction begins with the teacher's commitment to teaching words well. Our snippets are providing an in-depth look at some not so well-known strategies that you can incorporate into your classroom practice. Please download the participation guide that is attached to the webinar. This slide includes the 2 learning intentions for our mini webinar today, focused on wordplay for practice after instruction. Explore the evidence-based vocabulary instructional strategy wordplay for after learning, and reflect on the next steps that you will use with this strategy. After strategies provide students with an opportunity to summarize, question, reflect, discuss, and respond to their I'm going to start that over, so we'll let Chris know that. After strategies provide students an opportunity to summarize, question, reflect, discuss, and respond to text by think, pair, sharing their ideas, and by comparing their explanations, describing and explaining drawings, and discussing any new information they have learned. Students can make revisions to their own work and add to their vocabulary, explanation, and visuals as necessary. This is an optimal time to continue to identify and clear up any misunderstandings about the new terms, and also have activities that the students are able to participate in. Activities are listed on the right in support of after instruction vocabulary strategies. Review these with your team as you wish. Which have you used? Which activities are new ones, and which ones have you not explored? Proceed to the next slide when you finish your discussion for more activities on the listed activities above.
As you consider the use of wordplay activities into your after instruction student practice, you should consider these questions during pre-planning. Why is vocabulary instruction crucial for your students? What are exemplary strategies for vocabulary instruction? What strategies do we want students to utilize after their reading instruction? You may be asking yourself, what is wordplay? Wordplay is the clever and witty use of words and their meaning. It involves using literary devices and techniques. Using wordplay techniques relies on several different aspects of rhetoric, like spelling, phonics, and semantics. It includes games, riddles, jokes, and puzzles to motivate students in all grades, as well as allowing students to form amusing and often humorous written and oral expressions. These activities have a strong research base and require students to reflect on words, word parts, and how to use the word in context. Wordplay also requires that students be active learners while engaging in practice and rehearsal of words. Marzano and Pickerington explain the importance of wordplay games in building academic vocabulary. They recommend teachers set aside time periodically for students to play games, which include the terms in their notebooks. Wordplay is just as important to a child's growth and development as active play. Wordplay helps students develop communication skills and vocabulary, and also a sense of humor and love of language. In conversation or during play, use as many words as you can to describe or identify something. Once pre-assessment and direct instruction activities have been completed, students will achieve deeper learning and understanding of vocabulary by practicing with wordplay.
The games listed above are a few of the recommended games for reinforcing and growing students' vocabulary. Marzano suggests using wordplay games and activities at least 3 times every 2 weeks. Games are also recommended to be played at times in the day when students' energy typically runs low or their attention is declining. The games will provide students with an informal review of the terms they have been studying, help them generate energy, and focus students' attention for other academic activities. Figurative language is another form of wordplay and an area often neglected in the teaching of vocabulary. Having students play with figurative language, which is language that's intended to create an image, association, or other effect in the mind of the listener or the reader that goes beyond the literal meaning, or the expected use of the words involved to support vocabulary development. Several examples of figurative language that should be taught to students are idioms, similes, metaphors, connotation, and denotation. Figurative language makes ideas and concepts easier to visualize for students.
The next component of promoting after instruction with vocabulary development is fostering word consciousness. Word consciousness can be thought of as an awareness of and interest in words and their meanings. This also includes wordplay and expressively using words such as idioms and figurative language. Teachers can increase students' vocabulary by helping them develop word consciousness behaviors, such as showing strong interest in words, noticing words, and learning new words. Personal interest and excitement in new words can be contagious. Encouraging students to be word conscious helps them to become lifelong learners of new words. Ways to foster word consciousness include playing word games, telling tongue twisters or jokes, and highlighting interesting words found in the text.
When selecting wordplay activities to reinforce and practice key vocabulary, keep in mind the opportunities which lend themselves to support for struggling students and providing stretch for students that need to move beyond the regular practice activity. In order to support students who struggle with vocabulary, it is important to ensure that they understand the following relationships with words, such as morphology, which is the study of words and how they are formed, their relationship to other words in the same language. Meaningful word parts include affixes, prefixes, and suffixes, base words, and root words. Explicitly teaching the definitions and parts of speech for affixes dramatically enhances a student's vocabulary. For example, teaching the term dis can mean not or the opposite of makes it easier to remember the meanings of disrespect, disinterest, and even disgust. Teaching words in categories helps develop a deep understanding of the words. For example, teaching adverbs that end in ly supports the understanding that these words are describing the action in the text. When looking at stretch, students can get more from vocabulary and spelling than just writing words five times each or writing the definition and using it in a sentence, which is in previous snippets we have discussed how this is really not helpful to anyone. Help your students learn to explore the depth and complexity of words. Birdseed.com suggests the following ways to deepen your word studies and provide stretch. Multiple meaning words and homophones teach students about the art of wordplay using puns. Etymology and Greek and Latin roots are the study of those word origins, and developing names for different spells, new Pokemon, and strange inventions can get students really excited about using those Greek and Latin stems. Each creation can be constructed with at least 2 Greek or Latin roots, prefixes, or suffixes. Cognates are the relationships between English and other language. Comparing vocabulary, grammar, and even writing systems can give students a new point of view about language arts. Cognates are an interesting way to find parallels across languages, and students typically love these. Analogies provide a great way to get students thinking about word relationships and patterns. Consider using analogies not just in language arts, but across all disciplines. Antagonyms are words that have 2 opposite meanings. For example, bound means moving, like my train was bound for Portland, and it also means immobile. I was bound and gagged. A link with these are provided on the participation guide.
There is ample evidence that when meaningful instruction designed by the teacher is combined with motivational tool technologies, students' cognitive, emotional, and behavioral engagement can be significantly increased, more than technology could ever achieve alone. During this time period, online learning is used more than any other time in our history. We constantly need to add tools to our toolbox to provide engaging, interactive ways for students to learn. The following ideas are shared as options for online vocabulary engagement. One idea shared above is Quizlet.com, as recommended in teaching literacy in the visible learning classroom. In this time of virtual and hybrid learning, students need to have activities to play and learn key vocabulary words to expand their vocabulary. Quizlet.com provides a free flashcard generator. Students should be encouraged to construct their own flashcards using Quizlet because the act of conceptualizing the definitions and images is in itself a study aid. This work promotes the likelihood that the term will become part of the student's permanent vocabulary. What other ideas do you find worthy of noting and sharing? Talk to your teammates and discuss those. We use the following resources to develop this snippet and highly recommend the above activities and webinars for digging deeper with your learning about wordplay.
Today's webinar focused on one after vocabulary strategy that you can use to meet the needs of your students through explicit vocabulary instruction and practice. We reviewed components recommended by research and reflected on practical applications that you could easily use with your students. If you enjoyed this webinar, please give us a shout out on Twitter and include @OhioSST8 and join us for our next webinar in the series, Morphology in the Adolescent Classroom.